The Ravenloft Player's Handbook was released in 2003, written by Jackie Casada, John Magrum, Andrew Kremek, Ricky Wren, and Andrew Wyatt, with many interior artists, and a cover design by Ron Thompson. This guide is 256 pages and is updated for the 3.5 rules. The first chapter covers the basics for the Ravenloft player. It explains the concept of Ravenloft, how things work like domains and Dark Lords. It then goes over the history of Ravenloft up to its current timeline, which is now 758. Chapter 2 covers a lot of what was in the 3rd edition core settings, such as races and character classes, but it updates them for the 3.5 edition. Also, a bunch of new skills and feats are introduced. Chapter 3 covers fear, horror, and madness checks, curses and power checks, and of course the altered spells and magical items in Ravenloft. Chapter 4 details all of the domains in Ravenloft briefly from a player's point of view, with an emphasis on if player characters can originate from that domain. This is probably the most useful part of the guide. Chapter 5 is a summary of each of the monster types covered in the Van Richten guides. And Chapter 6 is a brief overview of how to play a Ravenloft campaign. A lot of this guide is reused material from the Ravenloft 3rd edition core rulebook, just updated for 3.5. I know they needed to update things, but I felt like this guide is a rip-off and a cash grab, to be honest. Unlike the DM's guide, which felt like a guide that would actually benefit DMs, and did help them greatly, players don't really need this book. If you have the 3rd edition core set, you really don't need this book, and you'd be upset if you got this book. I do not recommend this guide at all. Gothic adventures in the domain of dread. Within the darkness, terror reigns. Vampires rule the night. Shapeshifters howl beneath the gibbous moon. Ancient evils and new-made ghosts and ghost ghouls prey upon a populace ruled by fear. Yet within the darkness glows a light. A few brave souls who stand against the evil. Have you the courage to join the struggle? The Ravenloft Player's Handbook updates both rules and source material for the popular Ravenloft campaign setting, fully compatible with the new version 3.5 of the D20 system. This book contains updated character creation rules, new spells, new information on spell use and realm magic, ratings, guidelines to the realms of the Land of Dread, and even a new prestige class created specifically for Ravenloft.